Do you still remember the endless laughter of Fawlty Towers? The show once captivated all of Britain, but behind the scenes were lives filled with heartbreak. Some died in tragic accidents, some succumbed to illness, and some passed away quietly without anyone noticing. Today, let us remember the faces who made that legend possible. Ballard Berkeley as Major Gowan. Ballard Berkeley took on the role of Major Gowan in Fawlty Towers in 1975 when he was already 71 years old. He became the soul of the show's offbeat humor. His rambling war stories and delusional outbursts brought a bittersweet charm to the comedy. But his real life was tinged with tragedy. Berkeley was born on August 6, 1904, in Kent, England, into a middle-class family. His father was an army officer. When World War I broke out, his father was severely wounded, plunging the family into hardship. His mother died of tuberculosis soon after, leaving young Ballard to fend for himself. Yet his love for the stage became his salvation. He began acting in the 1930s quota quickies, low-budget British films, and quickly gained notice for his aristocratic looks and military bearing. After World War II, Ballard Berkeley's reputation grew with roles in Which We Serve, 1942, Alfred Hitchcock's Stage Fright, 1950, and The Bells of St. Trinian's, 1954. But it was Fawlty Towers that immortalized him, as the bumbling yet endearing old major, a character who became a symbol of British comedy. However, as he entered his 70s, Berkeley's health began to decline due to heart disease and arthritis, forcing him to retire from performing. Ballard Berkeley passed away on January 16, 1988, at the age of 83, after years of battling illness. He was buried in London beside his wife, Dorothy Long. His estate, valued at around $2 million, was modest but deeply meaningful, the legacy of a man who dedicated his life to laughter. Andrew Sachs as Manuel. When Andrew Sachs was 45 years old, he captured the hearts of audiences worldwide as Manuel, the naive yet lovable Spanish waiter in Fawlty Towers, 1975 to 1979. The role earned him a BAFTA nomination and turned Manuel's iconic line, "Que?" into one of the most famous catchphrases in British television history. But behind that innocent smile was a life marked by hardship and escape. Andrew Sachs was born on April 7, 1930, in Berlin, Germany, to a Jewish family. When he was just 8 years old, his family fled Nazi persecution and sought refuge in England. Life as refugees brought poverty, loss, and loneliness. His father died young, and his mother worked tirelessly to support the family. Those difficult years forged in Sachs a resilience that would carry him through his early struggles in the British stage and radio scene, where he started out playing uncredited minor roles. Through sheer talent and persistence, he began gaining attention in films like Hue and Cry, 1947, and The Saint, 1962. But his true breakthrough came when he was cast as Manuel in Fawlty Towers. Afterward, Sachs continued to shine in Doctor Who and Coronation Street, becoming a beloved icon of British comedy. Yet fame could not shield him from the tragedy of his final years. In 2012, he was diagnosed with vascular dementia, which gradually robbed him of speech, memory, and mobility. Andrew Sachs passed away on November 23, 2016, at the age of 86, at Denville Hall Nursing Home in London. His net worth was estimated at $5 million, not merely a number, but a testament to a lifetime of dedication, from a refugee child to a legend of British laughter. Gilly Flower as Miss Abitha Tibbs. At 67 years old, Gilly Flower played Miss Abitha Tibbs, the elderly, naive yet charming lady of Fawlty Towers, 1975 to 1979. With her silver hair and gentle smile, she became an essential part of the Fawlty Hotel, the loyal companion of Miss Gatsby. But behind that fragile appearance was a life of resilience, overcoming poverty during one of Britain's most turbulent eras. Gilly Flower was born on October 26, 1908, in London, into a middle-class family. Her father was an engineer, and her mother a teacher. After the Great Depression of the 1920s, her family fell into hardship, forcing young Gilly to work early to help her mother support her siblings. A workplace accident took her father's life when she was only 14, leaving her with a deep sense of loss and an early sense of responsibility. Despite the harshness of life, she nurtured a love for the arts and began working as a hat model for fashion magazines before finding her way to the stage. She began acting in the 1930s with the film The New Hotel, 1932, later appearing in numerous British television programs such as Z-Cars and Steptoe and Son. But it was her role as Miss Tibbs in Fawlty Towers that truly made her a legend. However, as age crept in, osteoporosis and failing eyesight forced her to retire from acting in 1991. Gilly Flower passed away on February 17, 2001, in Surrey, England, at the age of 92. Her estimated net worth of $1.5 million reflected more than half a century of dedication to British theatre and television. Bernard Cribbins as Mr. Hutchinson. When Bernard Cribbins appeared in the Fawlty Towers episode The Hotel Inspectors, 1975, he was 47 years old. Bernard Cribbins was born on December 29, 1928, in Oldham, England, into a poor working-class family. His father, a World War I veteran, and his mother, a cotton weaver, struggled to make ends meet. His childhood was marked by wartime separation. His father re-enlisted, while Bernard was evacuated from the city. From an early age, he fell in love with theater, starting as an assistant stage manager at 13 before moving into professional acting after serving in the Army. His determination carried him from poverty to the spotlight of London's West End. Over an extraordinary career spanning 8 decades, Cribbins became a national treasure. He appeared in films such as Carry On Jack, 1963, and The Railway Children, 1970, but he reached new generations through Doctor Who, playing Wilfred Mott, the beloved grandfather of Donna Noble. However, as he entered his 90s, his health declined due to heart disease, leading him to retire after 2020. Bernard Cribbins passed away on July 27, 2022, at the age of 93 in Hertfordshire. He was laid to rest in Woking beside his wife, Gillian, his partner of 66 years. His net worth, estimated at $10 million, stands as a testament to a lifetime devoted to art, from stage to screen, and to the hearts of the British people who adored him. Brian Hall as Terry the Chef. At 42 years old, Brian Hall made audiences burst out laughing in Fawlty Towers, 1979, when he played Terry Hughes, the hotel's blunt, no-nonsense chef. Beneath the white uniform was the image of an honest, hot-tempered but loyal working-class Brit. Though he appeared only in the show's second season, Terry became an emblem of the silent working man, the kind of character who quietly kept Britain running and gave its comedy heart. Brian Hall was born on November 20, 1937 in Brighton into a poor working-class family. His father was a driver, his mother a cleaner. Tragedy struck when his father was killed in a car accident when Brian was only 14. Forced to leave school, he took on odd jobs to support his mother and younger siblings. Yet hardship couldn't extinguish his love for performance. He joined a local theater group and gradually earned his place on stage with small parts at the Royal Court Theatre and the Royal Shakespeare Company. That resilience and blue-collar grit would later shine through every moment of his portrayal of Terry. Beyond Fawlty Towers, Hall appeared in The Professionals, 1977 to 1983, Breakaway, 1980, and You Must Be the Husband, 1987. But just as his career reached its peak, tragedy struck again. In 1995, he was diagnosed with terminal lung cancer. He endured years of painful chemotherapy, which eventually forced him to stop acting. Brian Hall passed away on September 16, 1997, at the age of 59 in Worthing after a 3-year battle with cancer. He left behind his wife, Marlene, 4 children, and a body of work that was simple yet deeply genuine. His net worth was estimated at $3 million, most of it earned from more than 3 decades in film and television. Renee Roberts as Miss Ursula Gatsby. When Fawlty Towers premiered in 1975, Renee Roberts was already 67 years old and played Miss Ursula Gatsby, the lively and kind-hearted companion of Miss Tibbs. Together, the 2 elderly ladies brought a gentle humor to the show. With her sharp eyes and refined presence, Renee turned a small role into an enduring symbol of graceful aging in British comedy. Renee Roberts was born on September 24, 1908, in London, England. She grew up in poverty, the daughter of a miner and a housewife. Her father died of lung disease after the war, leaving her mother to raise 5 children alone. Deprived of both material comfort and education, Renee entered the workforce early, working as a waitress and a factory laborer. Yet beneath it all, she carried an unshakable passion for the stage. After years of persistence, she earned a small place in local theater productions and gradually made her way into British television. She became widely known for her role as Miss Gatsby in Fawlty Towers, as well as for appearances in Only Fools and Horses, 1983, and The Wandin Line, 1971 to 1980, where she showcased her versatility and natural comic grace. But as she entered her 70s, heart disease and kidney failure forced her to step away from the spotlight, bringing to an end a career that had spanned over 4 decades. Renee Roberts passed away on February 6, 1996, at the age of 87. She died quietly in England, with no children by her side, yet audiences have never forgotten the kind smile of Miss Gatsby. Her net worth, estimated at $1.2 million, stands as a testament to a lifetime of hard work and unwavering devotion to British comedy. Geoffrey Palmer as Dr. Price. At 52 years old, Geoffrey Palmer portrayed Dr. Price, a dry, unflappable doctor who remained focused on his breakfast amid the surrounding chaos in Fawlty Towers' 1979 episode, The Kipper and the Corpse. With his deadpan face and clipped delivery, Palmer turned a small role into one of the show's most delightfully ironic moments. Geoffrey Palmer was born on June 4, 1927, in London, England. His father was a surveyor and his mother a teacher, a stable, middle-class upbringing disrupted by the hardships of World War II. As a boy, Palmer was evacuated from the city and lost relatives during the war, a sorrow that stayed with him for life. After completing his military service in the Royal Marines, he began his acting journey as a stage assistant before being discovered by legendary director Laurence Olivier. By the 1970s, Palmer had become one of the most familiar faces on British television, starring in The Fall and Rise of Reginald Perrin, 1976 to 1979, Butterflies, 1978 to 1983, and most memorably, As Time Goes By, 1992 to 2005, opposite Judi Dench. The pair became known as one of TV's most beloved romantic legends. In his later years, however, Palmer suffered from heart problems and limited mobility, forcing him to retire at 80. Geoffrey Palmer passed away peacefully at his Hertfordshire home on November 5, 2020, at the age of 93. He was survived by his wife, Sally Green, and 2 children, including his son, Charles Palmer, who followed in his footsteps as a television director. His net worth was estimated at $8 million, a fitting reflection of a 6-decade career and the quiet charm that made him a British institution. Joan Sanderson as Mrs. Alice Richards. When Joan Sanderson was 67 years old, she left a lasting impression as Mrs. Alice Richards, the wealthy, cantankerous guest who drove Basil Fawlty to the brink of madness in Fawlty Towers, 1979. With her commanding stare and sharp, aristocratic tone, she created one of the most memorable episodes of the entire series. Communication problems. Joan Sanderson was born on November 24, 1912, in Bristol, England. She was raised in a middle-class family, but after her father's early death, her mother struggled to support her. From a young age, Joan showed a deep passion for language and theater, earning a place at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, RADA. Her refined voice and imposing stature quickly made her a natural fit for roles as strong, upper-class women, characters who commanded attention while exuding subtle warmth. Her career spanned more than 50 years, with acclaimed performances as Doris Ewell in Please Sir, 1968 to 1972, and guest appearances in Upstairs, Downstairs, 1971 to 1975, and Rising Damp, 1978. Yet in her later years, arthritis and depression weakened her health, forcing her to retire from the stage and screen. Joan Sanderson passed away on May 24, 1992, at the age of 79 in Norwich, England. Her death came just weeks before the broadcast of the final season of After Henry, whose last episode was dedicated to her memory. Her net worth was estimated at $2.5 million. Modest in number, but small compared to the immense legacy she left behind in British television history. Bruce Boa as Mr. Harry Hamilton. In Fawlty Towers, 1979, Bruce Boa was 49 years old when he played Mr. Harry Hamilton, the loud, demanding American guest in the classic episode Waldorf Salad. He created one of the show's most unforgettable cultural clashes. His booming New York-style bravado and brash manner perfectly contrasted John Cleese's uptight Basil Fawlty, turning their scenes into comedy gold. Yet in real life, Boa was far removed from the confident persona he portrayed on screen. Bruce Boa was born on July 10, 1930, in Calgary, Canada, into a strict religious family. His father was a minister and his mother a homemaker. Growing up in hardship and constant relocation due to his father's work, he learned early how to adapt. After earning a degree in theology from the University of Western Ontario, he briefly played professional football for the Calgary Stampeders before abandoning sports to pursue his artistic calling. Years of wandering through Central America and Europe awakened his passion for acting, eventually leading him to settle in England to build his career. He soon became typecast as the quintessential American in British films, appearing as military men, officers, and businessmen in productions such as The Omen, 1976, Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back, 1980, as General Carlist Rieken, and Superman 4, 1987. Despite professional success, Boa battled both cancer and alcoholism in his later years, which took a toll on his health and limited his ability to work. Bruce Boa passed away on April 17, 2004, at the age of 73, in Surrey, England. He was survived by his wife, Cherry, and their 3 children. His net worth was estimated at $3.5 million, most of it earned from decades of memorable work in British and American cinema and television. David Kelly as O'Reilly. At 46 years old, David Kelly delivered one of the funniest and most chaotic moments in Fawlty Towers, 1975, as Mr. O'Reilly, the bumbling Irish builder whose incompetence drives Basil Fawlty to the brink of madness. With his unmistakable Irish accent and effortless comedic timing, Kelly turned what was meant to be a brief guest role into one of the show's most legendary performances. But behind the laughter was the long, difficult journey of a man who rose from poverty through sheer belief and determination. David Kelly was born on July 11, 1929, in Dublin, Ireland, into a poor working-class family. His father died young, leaving his mother to raise him alone. At just 8 years old, Kelly stepped onto the stage at Dublin's Gaiety Theatre after a teacher recognized his natural acting talent. Later, he studied at the Abbey School of Acting, working a variety of odd jobs to survive, from calligraphy and drafting to painting signs, all while chasing his dream of performing. From the 1950s onward, Kelly became a familiar face on both Irish and British television. He shone in Strumpet City, 1980, achieved international fame with his role as Michael O'Sullivan in Waking Ned Devine, 1998, and charmed global audiences as Grandpa Joe in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, 2005. However, near the end of his life, a serious fall led to complications that weakened his health, forcing him to retire from acting. David Kelly passed away on February 12, 2012, at the age of 82 in Dublin after a brief illness. He was cremated at Mount Jerome Cemetery as hundreds of fellow actors and admirers gathered to bid farewell. The Irish press called him the great old man of Irish acting. His net worth was estimated at $4 million, but his true wealth lay in a lifetime of artistry, a body of work that made audiences laugh and cry in equal measure. Nicky Henson as Mr. Johnson. When Nicky Henson appeared in the Fawlty Towers episode The Psychiatrist, 1979, at the age of 34, he stole the show with his portrayal of Mr. Johnson, a charming, confident ladies' man whose flirtatious behavior drives Basil Fawlty to suspicion and jealousy. Though his appearance lasted only one episode, Henson's magnetic energy, mischievous eyes, and effortless sophistication made Mr. Johnson one of the most memorable guests in the entire series. Nicky Henson was born on May 12, 1945, in London, England, the son of famed comedian Leslie Henson and actress Harriet Martha Collins. His parents' early divorce left him with a sense of loneliness, but he inherited their artistic spirit. After training at RADA, the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, Henson began his stage career with roles in Waiting for Godot and Romeo and Juliet. His film debut came in the 1970s with Psychomania, 1973, a cult horror film that earned him a reputation as the rebel hero of British cinema. Beyond Fawlty Towers, Henson built a rich and varied career, appearing in EastEnders, 2006, Downton Abbey, 2010 to 2013, and Blitz, 2011. He married twice, first to actress Una Stubbs and later to dancer Marguerite Porter, and was the father of 3 sons, including acclaimed musician Keaton Henson. But behind the success was a long, grueling battle. Diagnosed with cancer in 2003, he endured nearly 2 decades of surgery and chemotherapy. Even as his health declined, he continued acting and raised funds for cancer charities, remaining upbeat and determined to keep working. Nicky Henson passed away on December 15, 2019, at the age of 74, after a 20-year fight against cancer. Friends remembered him as the man who kept laughing even when he knew the end was near. His net worth was estimated at $4 million, built over more than 50 years on stage, screen, and television, a legacy of humor, courage, and grace. Andre Maranne as Andre. In the Fawlty Towers episode Gourmet Night, 1975, Andre Maranne was 49 years old when she played Andre, the refined French chef who somehow remained calm amid the chaos of the Fawlty Hotel. Though his role was brief, Maranne's effortless poise and natural elegance made him unforgettable, a picture of Gallic composure surrounded by English absurdity. Andre Maranne was born on April 14, 1926, in Toulouse, France. His early life was overshadowed by war, which forced his family to move between France, Algeria, and Paris. After studying drama at the Comédie Française, he joined the French army, then turned to acting on stage and screen. In 1955, he married an English school teacher and settled permanently in the United Kingdom, becoming a British citizen in 1967, a turning point that opened the door to decades of success in British film and television. Maranne's career became defined by his portrayals of quintessential Frenchmen, officers, waiters, and police inspectors in films such as The War Lover, 1962, Thunderball, 1965, and especially as Sergeant Francois Chevalier in 6 installments of the Pink Panther series, 1964 to 1993, alongside Peter Sellers. Outside of acting, he hosted French-language programs for the BBC during the 1960s and 1970s, introducing British audiences to French culture through television. After retiring in 1991, he enjoyed a peaceful life in Brighton, spending his days painting and windsurfing. André Maranne passed away on April 12, 2021, just 2 days before his 95th birthday. He was remembered as the kindest Frenchman in British television, a soft-spoken artist whose quiet charm enriched every scene he appeared in. His net worth was estimated at $2 million, most of it earned from more than 4 decades of devoted work in film and television. James Cossins as Mr. Walt. In the first season of Fawlty Towers, 1975, James Cossins was 42 years old when he appeared as Mr. Walt in The Hotel Inspectors. James Cossins was born on December 4, 1933, in Beckenham, Kent, into a broken family. After serving in the Royal Air Force, he trained at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, RADA, where he won the silver medal in 1952, the first milestone in a distinguished career. Starting on stage, he soon transitioned to film and television, where his knack for portraying pompous, bureaucratic, or irritable figures made him a fan favorite. Throughout his career, Cossins appeared in more than 40 films, including The Man Who Would Be King, 1975, The Man with the Golden Gun, 1974, Gandhi, 1982, and Villain, 1971. On television, he was seen in Some Mothers Do Avum, Minder, Bergerac, and Emmerdale Farm. But in his later years, heart problems forced him to step back from acting and live quietly in Surrey. James Cossins died suddenly of a heart attack on February 12, 1997, at the age of 63. He was remembered as a master of the supporting role, an actor who could make audiences both love and loathe him in equal measure. His net worth was estimated at $2 million, built over decades of dedication to film and television, where even his smallest roles left a lasting mark. John Quarmby as Mr. Carnegie. When Fawlty Towers entered its second season in 1979, John Quarmby was 50 years old, and he gave a brilliantly memorable performance as Mr. Carnegie, the stern health inspector in Basil the Rat. With his cold expression and calm authority, he managed to terrify Basil Fawlty more than any guest ever could. Though his role was brief, Quarmby's commanding presence made him one of those quintessential British character actors, the kind who could make tension funny. John Quarmby was born on June 18, 1929, in Liverpool, into a poor post-war family. His parents couldn't afford to send him to art school, but his love for the stage never faded. After 2 years in the Royal Air Force, he was accepted into RADA in 1949, following in the footsteps of future British legends. For the next 20 years, Quarmby toured the country with repertory theater companies before transitioning to television in the mid-1950s. From the 1960s through the 1990s, he became a familiar face on British screens, appearing in shows like Z-Cars, Softly, Softly, Juliet Bravo, and Howard's Way. In 1981, he delighted audiences as Henry Tobias in K9 and Company, followed by a long string of supporting roles in dramas and crime series. Though rarely a leading man, Quarmby was deeply respected as a kind old master of British acting. In his final years, he suffered from dementia, which gradually affected his memory and speech, forcing him to retire from public life. John Quarmby passed away on April 5, 2019, at the age of 89. Colleagues remembered him as the last great storyteller of Britain's golden theater era. His net worth was estimated at $1.8 million, earned over nearly 50 years on stage and screen. The legacy of a man who rose from poverty but never lost his passion for the craft. Those laughs have become memories now, but the people behind them will never be forgotten. Which Fawlty Towers character do you remember the most? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for more untold stories behind the legends of the screen.